South Bay, right? South Bay, Allan, technically, right?
Well, almost, yeah. Marina Del Rey, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, I was
Close
afraid
enough.
it might be like not be quite, but anyway, I'm going with it. South Bay to South Florida. Joined with Tom Schaeffer, Allan Isfan, two former colleagues, two brilliant minds. And so I was telling Allan, well, first of all, in the time we did this last week, just our Friday Fodders, like this is basically like for me personally, Tom, might be different for you. For me personally, I guess this is my video journal of like into podcasting, and you can follow all the flubs and crashes and burns along the way, and I'm happy to put myself out there for everybody to watch. But one thing we talked about, Tom, and we were talking about his new venture, which talk about, and I also want to talk about what you're doing, Allan, is consistency. And the context around consistency being content marketing, like Tom's like all over my LinkedIn, all over the place, like, and it's not just the same one I keep seeing. It's like always something new. And I'm actually curious if you like spend a whole day writing them out, planning for the week. But consistency and me just making this commit to myself and to Tom, like, let's just do this. Like, I'll take an hour out of my day or however long these go for, like on a Friday. Like, let's just do it. Consistency, like consistency is king. I made that commit. We already have a guest lined up for next week, which I'm excited about. But with consistency, and this goes into Allan, why I reached out this morning, is routine. And when I saw you in LA in December, we talked a lot about routine and with what you're doing. And obviously, with routine, there needs to be consistency. So, the first thing I want to talk about is just routine, but probably to just get in that conversation, Allan, Tom, and whoever's watching here, like, tell us what you're up to now with your latest venture.
You go, Tom. This is, yeah. All right.
No,
Well,
no.
let me.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. Let me jump in. So, as you guys have seen, I've been involved in a number of different things, from launching a meditation company when we moved to LA, started hiking around the mountaintops here, and just there's something that happens psychologically when you're at a height where you can see the horizon. Apparently, there's a historical reason for that, as we were developing into the humans that we are, that causes some kind of a feeling of safety. When you're at the top of something, you can see everything, like you can see your attackers. And so we're up there. It just felt so good to just have those views, and it was just magical. And we would go for like sunrise hikes and sunset hikes, and I'd been a long time meditator, so I started going up there meditating, and it felt so incredible. You feel like you're on top of the world. And so we started organizing meditation hikes with people, and I would rent these silent disco headphones, and we'd have 15 people kind of hiking up, Griffith Park, or all of these different mountaintops here, and we'd meditate at the top, and I would guide people through those meditations. That was sort of the beginning of a transformation when we moved to LA. But little by little, I was starting to, get into fitness, and over time, kind of realized that, I needed to kind of change my life around in terms of, the weight that I had put on, running a bunch of startups and not paying attention to any of that. So the hikes was kind of the beginning of that, and little by little, the diet and the food kind of changed. And so I think what's happened since then is that I've been very successful in terms of my own mental state, and continuing on with meditation, adding breath work to that, super powerful techniques. And at the end of the day, I realized that my body is an entire system that is really connected through the gut, so through the food, through the fitness and the exercise and the mindset. And so it worked so well for me, and the people that kind of were seeing me transform, including my wife and daughters, and other people on Facebook, started asking me like what the heck I was doing. And I'm like, let's just build something. Basically, I had just done 75 hard, which is like a 75 day in a row set of things you have to do every day. No alcohol, 2 workouts, gallon water, read a book. And I did it. I finally broke through a plateau that I was on in terms of my weight loss and fitness. My wife did it. She broke through a plateau. We did it again. A bunch of other people joined us. And I'm like, okay, this is really powerful, building challenges for people that are going to be aggressive. When I talked to Kirby here when he was in LA, You get, very excited about the whole 75 hard thing. And so what we decided to do is build an app that has a challenge built into it. It's our own challenge. And it's got 7 things you have to do every day for 90 days in a row. It's called 90 Perfect Days. And, it starts with mindfulness first thing in the morning. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. It starts with mindfulness in the morning. You have to commit to doing your workout at a specific time, and so on, right? There we go. Take a picture to keep yourself motivated, and so on. So it kind of touches the mindfulness, managing your diet, managing your fitness, and everything that's kind of around that. And we do it as a group in an app that my 21-year-old daughter is building to kind of work on her software development chops that she's been sort of building over time. First thing she had actually built using React Native was a nutrition and sort of food planner for herself. Like that was kind of the project that she built. So it's like she's, very much in the wheelhouse. And so that's kind of what I'm up to, is just passion project. I'd learned so much. The things that I'd done were so powerful that I'd be like, it would just be irresponsible not to bring this to the world. And I just could not do it. So there we go. Trainer AI is the company, and the 90 Perfect Days Challenge is the first component of that, and it's going to grow from there.
And
Allan, that's incredible. Congrats on all of that.
Right?
No, sorry, Kirby.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You start in 3 days.
Yeah. So February 7th is the beginning of the first challenge. Now people can start, at any time. We're doing it through Test Flight, so it's like through a private invitation to the Test Flight app. And we have a PDF for people that maybe have an Android. We haven't developed Android yet. As often, you guys who've been in the app business, you always kind of like it'd be great to kind of start with a cross-platform framework. But my daughter kind of looked at it and she's like, yeah, I'm just going to use Swift, and that kind of like takes you down the iOS path, and we'll have to figure something else out for Android. But yeah, so it starts in 3 days. The app she was up literally messaging me at 5 a.m. this morning. She said, I finally got CloudKit working for the backups, which is insane. So I think we're ready to go.
I tried that 75 hard, Allan. That thing is, they don't call it 75 hard for nothing. It's, you should call it 75 impossible is what it should be called.
Yeah.
Because it's really, really hard. Especially, I think what's really challenging, and one of the notes I took down while you were talking about, just kind of going through these items, was just the power of how to, like for someone like me, I wouldn't say I'm not a couch potato, but someone that is a couch potato, and you're saying, hey, I want to lose 30 pounds, to just get into a program like that. You got to develop some smaller habits first, right? I think it's important that like just for me, just getting up at 5 has been, a challenge to just get into a habit of doing that. And then slowly starting to introduce some sort of just right now, maybe I'm just going to walk for a half an hour or something like that, just to get my body used to getting up, getting out the door, and getting into a routine. But I think where a lot of people fail, and I know that this is not necessarily the, what you're trying to solve with what you're doing now, but I just think if people were to start that process, and maybe they stumble, maybe they say to themselves, gosh, I can't keep up with this. It's just too difficult. They just have to break the things down a little bit smaller and create smaller milestones for themselves, because people need to see progress, right? I think it's like, if you say, I want to lose 30 pounds, if you don't lose 30 pounds in a short amount of time, you're going to get discouraged, and you're going to say, hey, something I'm doing is not working. But you got to develop those habits and make it part of your daily schedule. So for like me, right now, as I've been getting up like 4:45, butt in the chair at 5, that has now become like, if I don't do that, I feel like I've missed out on something, or I've missed part of my day, and so it's become an important part of my routine. So I think that's just what
chair. What's the chair, Tom? Like, are you your chair is the desk chair? Like, what are you doing right at 5? You start working at 5.
I'm up. So the new routine is I'm up at like 4:45, just kind of like just getting my eyes open, and then just button the chair at 5, and I'm writing, and I'm spending about 2 hours working on content, and trying to get that exercising in. But I think like for me, as long as if I decide, whatever reason I'm not going to go to the gym or I'm not going to go run or do whatever I want to do, I got to do something to just check the box. I got to feel like I got to just do something to check the box that says, at least in my own mind, I said, okay, I showed up. I didn't knock it out of the park today, but I showed up and I checked the box. I tried to do, even if it's just like 5 minutes. There was one day where I just did 10 push-ups or something, which is really pathetic to admit that. It's only 10 push-ups, but I'm trying to get in shape. But hey, I checked the box. I did something. And I think there's power in those micro. There's a great book called Atomic Habits by James Clear that talks about this stuff. So really powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry about
that.
Yeah,
but no, I think it's a super good point that, starting small is key. James Clear says that, BJ Fogg, I think that's Tiny Habits. I sort of had read all of those books several times and started like implementing those things. So for example, and we're trying to build these things into the app, by the way, sort of the whole cue, trigger, reward kind of loop. So, I have a pull-up bar in our bedroom, sort of where the closet door is, to just do pull-ups, chin-ups, whatever. And so now, first thing in the morning, I get up, go to the closet, install that thing, it's like removable. And then whenever I come out of the washroom, as soon as I let go of the handle, part of the trick that they explain in these books is that the cue has got to be like really simple. And it's not like, after I go to the bathroom, I'm going to do pull-ups. It's like after I let go of the handle of the bathroom, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to go to the closet and do, 10 chin-ups or pull-ups or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're absolutely right that these mechanisms have to be built in. You have to have cues, which is why, for example, in the challenge, the first thing you do in the morning is meditate or do mindfulness for at least a minute to kind of like set your mind straight before your feet even touch the ground. The second thing you do is you click on the button and you set the time for when your workout's going to be. So you're sort of setting that expectation. You're setting a trigger, and then the cue is going to be the thing's going to pop up and remind you, right? So we've tried to build those things in there, but we are going in with 7 tasks, and that might fly in the face of like start with 1. So I think it's important that people be attacking this at the right time in their life. Like I remember I was at a conference a few years ago, and I heard Andy Frisella speaking about a bunch of different things that he talks about, and that's kind of where I learned about 75 hard. And I wasn't ready at that time. My mind was just not there. I had to build up some new habit skills for me to be able to attack something as hard as it was. And I mean, I did it twice last year successfully, like from start to finish, but my mind was, ready for it. Whereas 2 years before that, it wasn't. So, I think we also are trying to make each habit pretty easy. Like none of those things on the list are hard. 1 minute of mindfulness. Like I have an Apple Watch. I can just do it right in there. Scheduling your workout, taking your picture, learning one small thing every day, drinking the water, working out 30 minutes a day. That could be a brisk walk. It's not like 2 45-minute workouts. One has to be outside like 75 hard. So I think, for you, Tom, I think this kind of challenge might be more in line with, something that's achievable, but more about just checking those boxes, day after day after day, none of which are hard, Whereas 75 hard, like the no alcohol thing was like, oh,
yeah.
I could tell you day 76, we were in Paso Robles.
So
wine country.
So Allan, when we met in LA, definitely we met at the perfect time for me. You definitely are on my mind every day since then. It's been two something months, and having this conversation, and you told me about 75 hard. I never heard of it before, and just talking about your journey. And then I opened up with you, and I've learned, and this is really like how this whole inner workings of my brain worked. I wanted to talk to Tom today. I was sitting in my gym waiting for it to open at 4:45, and I was thinking about Tom. We were talking about consistency, but like routine, because I was in the middle of my Friday routine. I was like, I thrive on routines. Now my Friday routine, today was a little different because I could get into why, but like I woke up at 3 a.m. today. Like I would love to bottle this feeling right now, but like since we met pretty much, Allan, that was like early December, I think like December 7th, like I've been on a routine since then. And my God, like forget like any like health, like physical, I'm down like 15 pounds since we met. Forget the mental, but just everything around it, like just with work, like going to work and just having that done, and just I can't explain it. But like what it does outside of those habits that you're doing, like it's just like leaps and bounds. Yeah, kind of speechless, I guess. So we met. You told me about the 75 hard. I did like a 75 light trial, and it was also, we're talking December. So I went through the holidays. I did slip up. I made it all the way to New Year's Eve, and I went through Christmas fine. I was slinging drinks for everybody. I was like doing all the dishes. I made it a game. Like you can't give me dishes fast enough. I can't wash before you give them to me. So I was like dish master on Christmas, sober as a whatever. But New Year's Eve, I went to the Orange Bowl, college football playoffs, tailgate, had some beers. I was like, I'm just doing it light anyway. I'm not going to like really start. And I pretty much gone a month. So like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, had some drinks, whatever. And yeah, I'm doing, I still say like, and I feel like, I don't know what that law is where you know of something, now you see it all the time. It's either that applying to me, or 75 hard is like really like now, like, especially more popular than it was just in December. But like I'll be on like random Facebook chats of other people doing it. Like I'm kind of doing a modified version, and they're asking me what my modified version is. So I'm definitely not doing 75 hard, not because I couldn't, but because it just worked, like what I'm trying to get out of it. And so I guess to go into like when I met you, Allan, I was saying like I'm not in any routine right now. Like it's just mentally taxing. Work is suffering as a result. I know what I need to do, but like I'm busy working, and then basically like let's just say it's a snowball thing. And I think the takeaway here is it's so important to put yourself first before doing anything else, because it's so easy to let everything slip. So for example, let's say I'm working one late night and I'll get less sleep than I want. Let's say I'm only going to get like 4 hours of sleep. I'll tell myself, eat it. Like it's going to suck that first day. Go to the gym in the morning, and you'll just kind of go fall in that routine. So I'll wake up in the morning and be like, oh man, like I'm tired. Schedule's a little flexible in the afternoon. I'll just go in the afternoon. Well, I start work, I get busy, stuff comes in, planned and unplanned. All of a sudden I don't have time to go to the gym. Not going to go afterwards. Let's try it again. And meanwhile, and because I've been like a really pretty healthy guy, I know what I need to do and all that. Part of me that hurts me as well. I know I've tried the bodybuilding thing before. I've fluctuated in weight. Like I'm pretty good with like, I can like zone in and like get the results. I just need the consistency. But like when I'm inconsistent, I'll also be like, just order pizza, drink more beer. And I know what I need to do, and I'll just start it tomorrow. But if I don't have that routine, it just lately for me and maybe current me, like I need a routine to start my day to set everything up for success. Like never been happier. Never been more productive. I never started more podcasts or Friday Fodders. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, man. I just want to jump in real quick because I've been kind of going through the same thing as I've talked about before with getting up at 5 and just trying to commit to a schedule. And the power of the routine is something that I just didn't realize how much of an impact it makes on not only your productivity, because you're boxing yourself in and you're doing things, you're sitting down doing the work, whatever it is, if it's a workout or if it's just writing something or whatever, you're doing it, you're giving yourself the time to do that. But then there's something just to be said about structure in your life. Even like just, our surroundings. I mean, having a place where everything goes and not having chaos in your life. I mean, when it's chaotic, it's hard to focus. It's like, it's just really hard to do the things that we're all involved in and doing and giving our attention to customers and building businesses and all these things. Like the last thing that you need is chaos in your life. You've got to be able to get yourself onto a normal schedule. And so, and it's hard to believe I've gone this long. I mean, I've had times where I knew I was going to, today's now like between this time and this time, I'm going to be working or whatever. But I've never gotten it to the point where like, okay, it's like 5 is writing time, 5 to 7 I'm writing, 7 to 7:30 I'm taking the dogs out, 7:30 to 8:30 I'm doing this or whatever. And then by 9, okay, now I'm back to LinkedIn. I'm doing my content, I'm doing my my engagement with the audience or whatever. I'm responding to things. Everything is blocked out. And there's something about that. It's just powerful. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. It just makes you feel like you're knocking things out of your day. And it is awesome. I can't describe that feeling either. And that's why when you said something earlier about if you just miss something, for me, if I just miss something, or sometimes I'm late on something where it's like shit, this was it's 7:15. I should have been out the door at 7 with the dogs or something. I just allow that to be missed, but then I pick the schedule up where I can, and I just continue on with the rest of the day. I don't beat myself up over it. I don't get depressed over it. I just allow myself to miss a segment of the day, and I just make it up somewhere else. Or if I get up at 6 instead of 5, okay, now I've only got an hour to write. Like I don't extend the blocks out. I really try to keep it tight. And it's been extremely powerful. And like you said, I've personally been more productive following that routine than ever before. So
I've definitely go ahead, Alan.
I'm curious about how the confidence piece kind of comes into this, because this is, I think entrepreneurs, and we're all entrepreneurs, and people that are watching this now or later probably fit into that as well, or want to be entrepreneurs. And part of the reason we do that is, freedom of doing what we want when we want, and not follow rules and so on. So historically, myself, I have never been a routine guy. In fact, I have been an anti-routine guy. I want to go to bed when I want, wake up when I want, not have to drive into an office. Like it's, we are the anti-routine people in general. So for us to be able to kind of shift that way we're realizing the power of it and the confidence that builds, because it means you can get a lot of shit done. You can be healthy. Like, look, I have a full-time job. I'm spending evenings and weekends learning about health and fitness, advising my daughter on this app that she's building. Like it's a lot of time, and there's so much shit you can do if you're properly organized and follow a structure. So that's, it is what I think we're all learning. And we're also trying to build, a trainer AI, which is, the 30, 60, 90 day kind of approach to transforming your life and building a mindset that is different from when you started. And the side benefits are, getting stronger, losing weight, getting healthy, all that kind of stuff. But you should emerge a different person at the end of the 90 days. And that's really what we're after, which is why we make it a little easier too, because all of the things that are on that list should be things you're doing every day for the rest of your life. Not like nobody's going to do 2 workouts a day and not drink alcohol if they want to drink alcohol for the rest of their life. So a lot of people feel lost after they do 75 hard. They just feel like this emptiness. They binge, they do all sorts of things, right? And for us, it's like, no, 90 days isn't the end. 90 days is really the next transition to just maintaining that for the rest of your life, because none of it's impossible.
I guess
it's intended to be just like a reboot, just like an abrupt reboot, and then you hopefully will carry on. But there's with that type of a program, it's so intensive and so not normal, right? Like that's not a normal thing for people to do consistently. That you kind of feel like you're like, what? How do I fill in my time now after that's all over? I would just add one more thing. I would just say when it comes to the habits and trying to build up to that. Whatever it is you're trying to do, that give yourself permission to be terrible, to not be able to be whatever it is in your mind that you're going to be right away, and allow yourself the time to, as you're developing that skill or that habit to do what it is. Like if it's working out, just you're not going to be Kirby, you've been working out for a long time. If I were to start going to the gym, I don't have expectations that I'm going to develop a pattern that you have, but I've got to just work on myself and just take it little by little. And I think people just beat themselves up too much too when they're trying to do new things and change things about themselves, or again acquire
you
habits. And you got to be okay with sucking for a little while, and just
don't suck. Yeah, don't suck more than one day in a row though. I think that's the not the counter to that, but it's like you screw up, you're like, okay, but
Just
you cannot kind of go, okay, for the rest of the week, I'm just gonna like,
right.
Like, no, you get it right back on very quickly. And that's my piece of that.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
that was basically like my Q4 of 2021 snowball, which I met you kind of at the end of that Q4 is like, I need structure. Like willpower was my strongest attribute forever. Like I didn't have the willpower to like just do it like that first day in a row to like let the pattern continue. But like you tell like our conversation, you mentioned the 75 hard thing, like snapped me into it. Like I've been pretty good since. And so come 3 days from now, February 7th, when the first 90-day challenge starts, I'll be doing both, I guess 75 hard / modified, and then the 90-day challenge as well. And the modified, what I'm doing is, and like I said, for me, it's like the biggest thing and the most important thing to me is the routine and getting in that routine. That's the number one most important thing to me. So what I'm doing is, and actually today is the first day since Jan 1 that maybe Jan 2, right? That was on a Monday, that I broke my 75 hard modified. And that is, so I've been doing 2 workouts a day, one outside every day. They're supposed to normally be spread apart 3 hours, right? So that's modification. That's modification 1. That's, and I know it's supposed to be hard. That's the point, right? But for how I'm modifying it, it's really working for me. I did a couple the first days like spread out, but like between the showers and the multiple things, I'm also losing time out of the work. So I'll do an hour at the gym. I'll come home and I'll go for an hour-long walk. And which is great because usually I'm taking one of the kids or the dog with me too. So they're getting exercise or something to look at that's just not the inside of the house. So I'm doing 2 workouts a day, a little longer than 75 hard. They're not spaced out. I've definitely done some walks in the rain. Let's see, I'm not drinking. So that's very par on. Like the gallon of water thing, I'm pretty sure I drink like 2 gallons of water. I'm not measuring it though. The picture I'm doing, but if I miss one, it's not a big deal. Although the one I took yesterday, the first one was like, wow, that's really different than the first one. Like big time, but I'm still going. I started on January 10th is when I started, I believe. I'm trying to think what I was doing that first week of January.
So next week when we get started on this, you can just stop 75 hard entirely and just use 90 perfect days, because we have there's the 7 initial tasks that you had put up on the screen, and then we have bonus tasks that you can add on to it. So there is a no alcohol bonus task. There is a second workout bonus task. There's other things like taking your supplements. There's a bunch of other things. So if you want to kind of create the equivalent, and there's a no alcohol bonus task as well.
And cold showers.
Cold showers on that list.
Yep.
So there's really no reason to do 75 hard. If you want to do something really hard and do it for 90 days, just do 90 perfect days and add those bonus tasks, because the extra thing that you're going to get, and by the way, Kirby, like, do not tell me you're doing a modified 90 perfect days. I'm going to kick you off the platform. If you're going to do it, you got to do it. Like no modifications, right? Like you're not going to be able to claim that you completed the challenge unless you're actually following it. But we're trying to make it not as hard. Like the 3-hour separation between workouts, I think the intent for that is that, yes, it makes it hard, but that you're not working out for an hour and a half. Like, sometimes I'll go on a super long bike ride, like 3, 4, 5 hours. That would count as one workout. So what they don't want you to do is do one workout that's 90 minutes instead of 2 45s, right? I get that. So we don't have that rule. So we've kind of relaxed some of the things that, I know why they're there. Just do 2 separate workouts, which is what you're doing. So I think that's kind of, that's acceptable that way, right?
And one outside, except for today, I broke it. So here's why. And this is kind of the how this whole alignment with the 3 of us happened. So my mother-in-law asked me to join her at Pilates, And so part of what I'm doing, that's my modified 75 days. This is nowhere on the list, but what I want to do is increase mobility, flexibility, and core strength. So I'll do like minute-long planks several times a day. I'm doing all sorts of stretches. I don't know if they're certified by anybody. I got a big long stretching strap and some yoga blocks, and it's just me doing some stretches and following along some YouTube videos. But like that's what I'm applying to it as well. I want to get more flexible, build more core strength. Like I'm a strong guy. So today I did Pilates, like doing Pilates and the bridges. Holy shit, the bridges were 100 times more difficult than doing leg press with 450 pounds a day. Like no questions asked. Like I was shaking. Like I thought I was going to break the damn whatever they call the Pilates table. So anyway, that Pilates was indoor, but I wanted to go like do that with her. I wanted to try it. So what I did, and to make this whole schedule work, because I have kids I need to ship out of the door in the morning, is I woke up at 3 a.m. today. I answered some emails. I ate, and I'm a guy, like, because there's health reasons, nutrition reasons why, like I'll never go to the gym on an empty stomach. I'll do cardio on an empty stomach. I'll never like move weights with an empty stomach. So I have to eat food, have to let it digest. And so I did that. I started my day at 3. My gym doesn't open till 5. So I had this whole period and I was answering emails. And Allan, you mentioned like setting a purpose reminder to like go to the gym. What I've been doing is not necessarily that, but like so many times, not recently, but like back in the day, like is I would wake up with intentions to go in the gym. But also, if I bring a laptop out, I could just get sucked into work at like 5 a.m. And all of a sudden it's 9:30. I never went to the gym. And like, well, I can't go now. It's busy. It's the middle of the work day. So what I'll do is so what I did today, and I'll pretty much do this every day, just a little later. I woke up early today, is I'll eat my food and I'll just take our minivan down to the gym parking lot and sit in it, let it digest, do some emails. I'm playing Wordle. And then when my food is digested, and or today, in the case the gym opens its doors, I go to the gym. Like nothing can keep me from going to the gym at that point. When I make the effort, I'm sitting in the parking lot ready to go. So yeah, today's been a long day.
Minivan and Wordle in the same sentence, and my mind's just.
I don't even know you anymore.
No.
Who are you?
Wow. I don't know. I'm evolving. I'm more mobile, flexible, structured, Kirby. And so I had an aha moment. Speaking of structure, and Tom, you mentioned like the blocking out, like for tasks on your calendar. Like I always just thought of myself like flexible, like not so structured guy. And I think a lot of that is because like, I'm sure Tom knows this, I have ADD. I'm sure anybody who's ever heard me talk's like, yeah, that guy's got ADD. But I had this aha moment talking to somebody, I won't mention who, within the streaming industry, not that that's relevant, but they're like, I have ADD, I need structure. And I was thinking, what? I didn't say that. I just in my head, I'm like, what? And he was talking me through it. It's like, that's interesting. And then it was like, I should have known this, stupid dummy. But like all of a sudden, like, wow, like I really thrive in structure, which is why
you're the king of the time. You're the king of the time box. I mean, I don't understand. Like we're like on totally different wavelengths now. Well, now you're back. Now you're back into like the structure. But at one point, like you were all about like saying like, hey, this is my schedule. Like I'm going to be doing emails from 7:30 to 8:30, and like, don't talk to me. My door's closed, like type of stuff.
Okay. You know? So maybe I knew that without realizing it. And then, yeah, at some point I lost it. But what's interesting is I put, like, I'll block off time on my calendar too for tasks like emails, blah, 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 blah. I'll have whatever they are. But like sometimes my days will be completely blocked. I've actually had like colleagues say, dude, you're never available. I'm like, oh no, I didn't think this is kind of backfired. It's like, no, dude, I just have to block my time. Like I'm available most of the time, I think. But definitely reach out. Like, don't let the calendar fool you. I just have to block it out. It's
now I'm experimenting with ideas like, you know, I'm only going to have meetings on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and Mondays and Fridays, and like the weekends now are just like free for all content days or whatever I'm going to do. But yeah, like trying to just get more rigid with, you know, my time and all that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a process, and it takes a while. It doesn't just happen overnight. You got to just start small and just introduce little changes, and eventually they just compound, as James Clear says, it's compounding habits become larger habits, and yeah, it all works together. So I'm definitely feeling it. I'm feeling really good about, you know, it. I do need to introduce more exercise into my life. I'm trying to do that. I've been like trying to run in the mornings. I had this block of time where I could easily run. I'm doing that sometimes, but I'm just not consistent with it. I need to get back on that. So I'm going to try this 90
perfect days.
100%
All
going
right.
to try this. I'm excited about it, Alan. It sounds really, really interesting. So I will be joining you on this. When is this? The next one starts what next?
Well, so a bunch of us start on the 7th. People can
Okay.
really start whenever they want, but we're going to be sending the app via test flight over the weekend. People can start whenever they're ready. Just kind of, because I think part of the idea is also, and this is what I've been sort of trying to drill into the first 50 people that we have in the beta trial, is to start the challenge prepared. So you should have written down what you're. So for example, one of the check boxes is to follow a diet. And I don't necessarily mean to follow like a fad diet. It just means like, this is going to be my approach to eating. Writing it down so that at the end of the day, like literally at the end of the day, every day, you can look at what you ate. You don't have to record it if you don't want to, but you'd be like, yes, I followed my rules. I intermittent fasted, or I didn't have any sugar, or I didn't have any refined carb, like whatever the rules are for you, you followed them. So it's important to go in prepared with a plan, so that you're not just like, the challenge is started and I don't know what my meal plan or my workout plan is going to be, right? So I'm trying to get people encouraged, and if they need help, I tell them what I'm doing, and then they can kind of do the same thing if they want or whatever. So I'd love to kind of have you on the challenge. If you're ready to roll, it sounds like you're already building habits. Let's do it. One of the things that I want to leave you guys with, and sort of everybody else with, it sounds like you've read James Clear, and Tiny Habits, Atomic Habits. There's a bunch of really good ones. It's developing the skill of developing habits. I mean, can you imagine? Never mind just building the specific habits like working out, but like to be able to say, like, one of the things that my wife is doing is she's learning Italian and she's learning sign language. It's just like you're building the habit of like learning 5 words every day in both of those approaches. And you just like, imagine if you could just decide on something and you're just going to stick with it until you break through the other side. Like it's super powerful, and it's just never been part of my lexicon.
Same.
It is now.
Same here. Yep.
Are you guys doing cold showers just by chance?
Yep. 5 minutes, 5-minute cold shower. You can start with a hot shower. That's fine. I mean, I think the contrast actually is really part of the benefit. And it also forces you to breathe, and I freaking hate them. So it's a good reason to do it.
I'm like Bizarro you. So I absolutely love cold showers, but I don't do them. I don't have a good reason. I guess my biggest reason, the reason is myself. So if you point your finger, there's 3 always point back at you. The reason's me. But my shower is kind of tricky to just get, like, it runs hot, and there's no quick cold period. And the only way I think I can do it with my shower, it'd have to just be a consistent cold shower, which actually I prefer. For all the breathing you mentioned, and I think you get more out of that than like starting hot and just doing like a 30 seconds cold. I was doing cold showers for a while. I'd love to start doing them. Like, I think their only benefit.
It's like a new thing now. I mean, like, they're doing this. Like, if I'm not saying I'm on TikTok a lot, but I do get in there every now and then, and I see one of the trends is these cold plunges, where people are going out. Like, these people are living in really cold climates, and they go out and they have these tubs that are just frozen over. They have to actually break the ice, and then they get into that and they just hang out for a minute or two. But it's supposedly it really is. I was about to say mind blowing, but it's actually really good for the body, reduces inflammation, and has all these other benefits like euphoric and feeling really good and So I want to do it. It's kind of embarrassing. Like, I don't really have that cold of water. I don't have access to that. I could go into my pool, but it's like, what's it like, 67 degrees, 70 degrees, right?
Runs a little hotter here in Florida.
Yeah, it's harder to get the cold water down here.
Yeah, but you don't even need to go to that extreme. I mean, if anybody that follows Wim Hof, they use the Iceman and all that kind of stuff. But even he says, that, you know, a 5-minute cold shower is really all you need, and you just run it as cold as you can. And yes, you can get a cold plunge. Some people will convert freezers. You know, they take the lid off and they use that. You can also buy, you know, ready-made things that do that. But honestly, I think just a 5-minute cold shower on like the coldest it can be is really beneficial. And I can throw in one of the specific tips around that. Not how to do it, because I think that's pretty straightforward, but kind of why do it. It's basically the concept of hormesis. So whenever you are stressing your body in a way that causes it to think, oh shit, I'm going to die, or I'm in trouble, certain things happen inside your body, like people hear about autophagy in the context of fasting. So your body's in the stress situation where it's killing off cells that are not operating well, it's recycling them. It's basically essentially getting your body ready for bad times. And so fasting does that. Exercise to some degree, hot and cold. So that's why sauna is really good for you, because it's very hot. You know, cycling back and forth is really good, but just the cold after the hot shower is really good. So it's really doing some powerful things inside your body that don't just make you feel good, but they actually make you live longer. Like it's a health span, lifespan thing. So it's pretty magical. And so, you know, whenever you're suffering doing it, you just think like, I just added, you know, that 5-minute cold shower added 5 minutes to my health span, you know.
Yeah.
That's how I'm trying to think about it.
A lot of times I'll go into it like, whatever it is, let's say, Kirby, you're trying to grow 4322X. Like, you try to do that, but you can't take a 5-minute cold shower. Like, come on, mind over matter. Like, if you can't do that, you really, like, I always like to also tell myself, like, thrive in uncomfortable situations. I think it's the latest one. And, like, thrive in uncomfortability. I mean, that's essentially what we're doing as entrepreneurs, right? And you can't go take a 5-minute shower. Quick anecdote on cold showers and South Florida running a little hot. So I forget the name of it, but I'll just call it the Kanata Inn in Ottawa. Danny, couple of years ago, Allan, Danny Baldwin was picking me up right outside of like it is, and I think my first words like getting into his car was like, "Holy shit, are the cold showers cold up here in Canada?" Damn.
Oh yeah, they're coming from underground and it's frozen.
And I was living in New York at the time, so not even Florida. Just that difference was just, oh my goodness. Yeah, Barry, Tom, do them. I'll start them too, and we'll chat about.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
I mean, I love them. Just don't do them.
Yep. If there's some breath work you should look into as you prepare for it, which is very helpful. And I think one of the things that you might find happens over time if you keep it up long enough is that your body will start driving more blood to your skin. Basically, your capillaries that tend to shrink when it's cold, when it's panicking, because it's trying to protect the inside of your organs, right, from freezing and dying. As soon as you can do the breath work and you do that enough times, you actually will feel less cold in doing the cold showers. Like, it's not just a mental thing. Like, physically things are happening that your body's like, no, this is cool. It's not going to kill me. I can just let the blood flow.
Yeah, I've seen the people that are doing that regularly. Like they show you the progress. Like the first time that they're like, they can barely breathe, they can't catch their breath, and then like week 4 or 5, they're just like kind of getting in there. So yeah, there's definitely something physical going on there for the resistance to it. It's pretty interesting. Well, man, we've been all over the place today. Not too bad, but we've been talking about a lot of interesting things with habits and staying healthy, and yeah.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
What's your best diet tip for aggressive, but within a healthy boundaries for some weight loss? Like, what's the one thing, which I already know the answer to this? I'm pretty sure it's like sodas, eliminating all sugar. Essentially, sodas are the worst thing you can drink. What do you have any? What's your tips for that? Just for like weight loss, incorporating what you're doing, but also like, what's your best diet to accelerate that process?
Yeah, so I think there's two things that have worked for me that I've researched. Like, I spent hours on PubMed every night looking at the latest research, and there's really two things that I think I can share with you guys. One is that insulin is really the let's call it the master fat hormone, and here's an example of how incredibly powerful it can be. So people that have type 1 diabetes, that basically their pancreas does not create any insulin and they have to actually inject it on a daily basis. Those people, if they're not injecting enough insulin, could eat 10,000 calories a day and not put on a pound. The only way that the energy that's in your blood, the glucose especially, will get stored in your fat cells is if there is insulin there. And in addition, the only way that the fat is going to be released from your fat cells to get burned as energy, regardless of what kind of exercise you're doing, is if the insulin is low. So I think I'm not answering the question directly, and I will kind of get around to it, but it's really all revolves around that. And so basically, the kinds of things that have been super effective for me, that have sort of like kept me from slipping back into weight gain, even though I might have a pizza here and there or a couple of beers, is what they call time restricted eating or intermittent fasting. People are talking about it left, right, and center. I didn't want to just kind of go to that and be like, oh, yet another guy talking about intermittent fasting. it's that you are. But I want people to understand why that is. First, you're going to probably have fewer calories, so that's kind of important, but you're going to allow your insulin to be low most of the time. And so working out fasted is incredibly powerful because you're not going to have a lot of glucose in your system. Your body is going to need energy. Your insulin is going to be low, and your fat cells are going to release the fat. And so I think that's intermittent fasting has allowed me to be consistent and not regain the weight back. I think that's been incredibly powerful for me. And again, I'm not going to say the word keto, but being low carb, like under 100 grams, typically under 50, if I'm really going to an extreme case, it's just such a healthy thing. And if I do have carbs, I'll be more like resistant starches. Like you can, cook your rice, put it in the fridge, and then reheat it, and it becomes less glycemic, let's say. So it's going to spike your insulin less. So for me, it's really all about controlling the insulin response and keeping that low. Yeah.
Never heard of that one. Lower I mean, can you throw bananas in there and it lower the glycemic index? Like anything?
So I think you can do that with potatoes. Like sweet potatoes are great for you. So something happens to the starch that ends up essentially resisting from being digested, basically. So those are kind of the two key tips. I'm going to throw one more at you because this is something that I think a lot of people don't necessarily know, especially when you're starting to do more resistance training and weight training. A lot of people will talk about protein and kind of not eating enough protein. A couple of things that are important. As you get older, your body breaks the protein down less effectively, and you really need protein for every part of your body, never mind building muscle, right? You would definitely need protein for building muscle. So as we age, some of the percentages, some of the rules that people give you, you need to kind of adjust those. So I'll let you guys kind of do your own research, but it really has to do with grams of protein per pound of lean body weight. And there's general rules that are out there, but as we get older, we need to kind of have more protein than what those general rules indicate. And on top of that, protein tends to take about 20% of the calories that are in that protein, whatever it is that you're having, to break down the protein. So if you have 100 calories of, steak, let's say, only 8 of those calories are actually going to get stored and used. The rest are going to be burnt up, just breaking down that protein. And so I think a lot of people, tend to have too many carbs and not enough protein, for sure. And I'll let other people decide around fat content and keto and all of that kind of stuff. But
Allan,
sorry,
what's your
I gave
what's
you
your
three.
what's your period for fasting when you do an intermittent fast? What's your time period?
Yeah, so because I work out most days, I do want to make sure that I get the protein in there. So I will tend to go with a 6 or 8 hour eating window, usually between 10 and 6 is sort of my window. And what I'll have in the morning, so I'll have coffee with MCT oil first thing in the morning, so that doesn't break your fast. And then at 10, I'll have Greek yogurt that has sort of double the amount of protein of regular yogurt. So I'll have that with nuts and whatever. So that'll be my first meal, and then I try to wrap it up at 6, and that
Cool.
works for me fairly well. And I don't get hungry like I used to. Your body kind of gets fat adapted, and it's not like it's a starvation mode at all.
That's great. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome, Allan. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Allan. Allan, where can people go to learn more about the 90 perfect days challenge?
Yeah, so they can go to trainer, so TRAINR.com, so trainerai.com, or just Google 90 Perfect Days Challenge. We have a private group on Facebook as well, the 90 Perfect Days Challenge. Probably the most straightforward way to do it. Just go to Google, search for that. You can request to be added to the private group. We're kind of a small, safe community, trying to really contain it to good people that are going to help each other and contribute. Because that's the other part that we haven't talked, Tom Kirby, about kind of like the community support. And kind of doing this with other people. Had I not been doing it with my wife initially on the 75 hard, I don't think I would have succeeded at it. And then my daughters joined in, which is kind of what led us to kind of build this whole thing together. So it's important to have other people joining you if you can, a spouse, a friend, or whatever. You guys are friends, so you guys are going to do it together. That's awesome. And then we have the Facebook group as well.
Yeah, accountability partners, Allan, huge. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I think that's a wrap. I love the conversation. And Tom, next week, so it'll be like the 2 days before the Super Bowl. And so actually all this week, I have so many questions. And Allan, you're actually like a great one to talk to about. Like, I think there's a lot of things like you'd be a great person to talk to about, one of which I have so many advertising questions, like TV advertising questions. And I think the Super Bowl is kind of why my head's like so much into advertising, and that's not a world I live or breathe. But we have Stephen Strong from Origin Media next week going to chat with us. I'm just going to grill him with a bunch of questions because they're doing some cool shit with reimagining ads and all that. They definitely have their own opinions, him and Fred. So we'll chat with Stephen. But wish you guys.
They're very outspoken.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, fantastic.
I love it. All right, awesome, guys. Have a great weekend.
Allan. Thanks, Kirby.
Take care. See ya.
All right.
Bye.